Bill Richards is going to start us off, and so we're going to go ahead and for Bill, you've got the screen here is mirroring what's happening on Bill's screen, so you'll be able to see in real time. This is what Bill sees on his schedule. What's happened initially is a pre-programmed script that he's typed by himself on this. And then as he answers questions, you'll see how he uses the word predictive nature of the program to speed up. So you'll see both the capability of a pre-programmed talk as well as being able to talk in real time.
Hi, my name is Bill, an old friend of Steve Reuters, who works here, and it is good to be here. I will be touching on 3 ways that technology helps me with my daily life. The first way is by my communication computer program. I have tried several different kinds of computer voice programs in the past, but never liked the voices on them before, or they were too slow to keep up with how quickly I wanted to communicate. Since I was never wild about the computer voice programs, for most of my life, I would point to letters or words on a word board. One problem with the word board was when I would do a phone call, family or a caregiver would need to translate what I was saying for the person on the other end of the phone what I was saying, as opposed to me speaking for myself, as I do now with help from the program from Words Plus. Also, during the phone calls when I only used a word board, my staff would add their own statements and comments into the conversation which were not coming from me, and maybe the person on the other end of the phone did not know for sure if I was speaking, or my staff. Also, Steve helps me to run my support staff, and when there were problems with my staff, I could not always call Steve about the problem, because a staff member would need to assist me with the call, maybe the staff member involved in whatever the problem was. I still do use the word board once in a while when I do not have my computer with me. Training someone to use the word board requires them to get to know the word board very well, since following my finger around the word board is not easy at all, and in the past that was my only tool for communication for so long. I will explain how the computer program works in a minute, but, unlike my computer program, there is no word prediction that comes with the word board. And so when someone gets what I am trying to say wrong with using the word board, I have to start over and repoint to the words all over again. Both myself and whomever I am talking to with my word board need to totally focus on the word board when I am using it, otherwise they will not figure out what I am trying to say. My personality comes through so much better with the computer program than it ever has when I was using only the word board, because the computer is simpler, faster, and more natural than the word board is. Now, thanks to my voice program, I can talk to someone who is in a different room than the one I am in, as opposed to, as I said before, the person needing to be fully focused on, and be looking at my word board as I talk to them by pointing. This helps me to chat with people when we are both busy rather than forcing us to stop everything every time I wanted to say something. At any rate, twice in the last maybe 15 years now, expert people in the field of assisted communication have tried to suggest communication devices for me to use which did not take into account what I do very well, typing. This was definitely the case 15 years ago when I was at Sac State getting evaluated for a new voice program, and all of the therapists were suggesting styles of computer voice programs which did not focus on me typing, which I do very well. The engineer who was there to figure out how to mount the new system onto my wheelchair for me, noticed how well I pointed to stuff on my word board, and he could tell I could type well, and he said something, and that is how I ended up with the Easy Keys system from Words Plus. The way my speech program works, as I hope you will be able to see thanks to I hope Joshua and GoToMeeting.com, is there is a word prediction box in the upper corner of the screen. So as I type each word, the word prediction box gives me 6 different options for what word it thinks I am trying to say.
And I'll do that later.
At the end of a sentence or a thought I can hit enter to speak the entire thing. I also am able to pre-write speeches, like this one, and play them back as often as I want to, which is extremely helpful because 2 or 3 times a month I give disability awareness speeches to 3rd and 4th graders in area schools. Also, when I get stressed, it is hard to get my fingers to type for me without my muscles fighting me.
Like right now.
Therefore, the word prediction part of my speech program is very helpful when I need to communicate when I am stressed. Another way that technology helps with my daily life is some years ago, we found out that the wheelchair center could wire a power inverter into both of my wheelchair batteries so I can plug any electrical device into my wheelchair and run it off my wheelchair batteries. The power inverter has the regular 2-prong socket so any regular cord just plugs in. I usually use this to charging my laptop wherever I am so my computer never runs out of power. That is important so I don't lose my voice or being able to use the computer when I am away from home. It also means I can move my chair around because I am not connected to an outlet. Like right here right now my computer is charging. That is the practical reason for the power inverter. But just by the way, the inverter can also be used to run a blender or a mini TV off from at a tailgate party at a football game, as I have found out before from personal experience. I am very popular at tailgate parties. And a third way that technology assists me a lot is at home I have a house alarm system, which I can arm and disarm from a keypad above my bed, which is very helpful in case for example my staff come, but forget their code for the system, as since we no longer give my staff house keys for when they come to work.
Thank you very much, Bill. And I just have to say, I worked with Bill.
THS. S. S. THS. We. Why? Thank you.
So I just have to say, I knew Bill way back when it was just with the word prediction board, and I tell you what, it's working with a brand new person who can really fully express yourself, and again without having to be so intentional with speech that it's only for the most critical of issues that communication is something that's done. I mentioned Andrew uses his iPhone at work. And the app that Andrew uses is called My Pictures Talk. It's a $3 app. It's not intended for speech communication. It's not intended even for people with disabilities. It's a very standard app that's used. But Andrew has found a very creative way of using this app so that he can work fully independently at work. It gives him an excellent list of tasks that need to be done and an excellent way of reminders about how to do certain tasks. And so we'll have Andrew do this. Yeah. What is this part showing right now?
Okay, that the back is third.
So the app is showing you, and it says use yellow duster to clean the top of the stalls and this silver something.
Yes.
And so when you tap it, what does it do, Andrew? Do you want to show?
Yeah.
Use the yellow duster to dust the tops of the black stalls and the silver pole.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So the nice thing about the app is that it gives you a list of things to do, and then when you touch it, it tells you verbally the things that you're supposed to do. You want to go to the next video there, Andrew?
Sure. Okay.
Use the yellow duster to dust off all of the frames. Make sure to get up top.
We weren't anticipating that
Dust
happening.
off all of the frames. Make sure to get up top.
Okay. Okay, what else do you have on your seat? Can you we'll go back to your main screen so we
Okay.
can see?
Sure.
Use the yellow duster to dust off all of the frames. Make sure to get up top.
So let's see the full list of things that you do.
Mm-hmm.
Can you go back to the full list?
Go back.
Oh, all the way back
Oh.
to your,
I
your
got
first
it.
screen.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay. So what's your next video show?
Okay.
What is the next one show?
That
Put
thing.
a clean towel on the Swiffer. Connect it by pushing the towel into the 4 dots on top. Then spray the Swiffer with the orange spray.
Okay.
Lay the towel flat. Lay the Swiffer like this. Put the towel over and poke it into the holes.
Okay.
Okay.
So can we pause it for a minute?
Yeah, stop.
Okay. So Andrew, can you tell when you work, well, first of all, it would be good if you tell people where you work at.
Okay.
Where is it that you work?
I'm gonna walk, Boo Burger. Burger?
Buca de
Yeah,
Beppo?
Bubble? Yeah.
I can never say it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And when you work, you use this. Does your job coach stay with you all the time?
Yes. Come on, Dave.
I know that actually the job coach is not there. And because you have this app, you're able to do all of these things without having a job coach there.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you have something that shows how you use the time clock on this?
Walk?
The time clock?
Time clock?
Right.
Yeah. The clock.
Can you show the time clock?
Oh, okay.
How you sign out? And you can see what's happening if
Sure.
can you go, okay. So Joshua, can you get into that? So this is a list. It shows find the orange and pink blue spray. So it's giving very detailed information about the type of cleaning materials, so that it's not just, again, that he needs to get cleaning materials. It's very clear instructions about which ones you need to get. You want to go ahead and show this one here? Oops, I'm so sorry.
Okay.
Go ahead and touch that one.
Match the pink sticker on the wall to the pink sticker on the bottle. Same with the blue sticker on the wall to the blue sticker on the bottle. Remember, if it's not spraying, try and screw in the cap into the bottles.
Okay. So what is neat about that one, Andrew?
Well, that green, orange, pink, blue one, and the have.
Right. So they have marked it with different colors to make sure that you have the right cleaning supplies, so that
Yeah.
you're not accidentally using the wrong one.
Mm-hmm.
Can you just show real quickly the part about the time clock?
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, shoot. Yeah, baby.
There you go.
Clock in using the code on this app or in your phone notepad.
Okay. So I love what your job coach has done a remarkable job.
Yes.
They have given you step-by-step instruction so that the
That
job,
go in the
What's that?
bun. Then in the bun, then it'll go.
that's right.
Okay, and then back to work.
So with this app, you can work very, very independently. I'd like to just ask one more thing.
Go ahead.
How do you get home on the weekends? How do you get to work and get home?
And Obo.
On Uber. So Andrew is someone, you are so good with your phone and using technology.
Yeah, a
that-
lot of money.
This phone is really allowing you to work in ways that without the phone would be very hard. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else you'd like to say?
Say? Yes?
Say the name of the app again.
Do you remember what the app is called?
Plug it in.
My Pictures Talk.
My picture.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's we can put it up at the end.
Can you get it for Android or Apple?
I don't know,
I
but
don't know.
we can certainly find other apps that do this for Androids if it doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to have the full panel answer questions. Did you have any final things you'd like to say?
Yeah.
What?
What can I think?
Does Buka have the best food ever?
Yeah, boo, waboo, waboo.
Plug it in. Plug
Yeah,
it in.
yeah, waboo.
Hi. Thank you for coming.
Hi, thank you for coming.
And I have asked Steve to repeat what I said.
And I've asked Steve to repeat what I've said.
What I said.
What I say. Current.
And the problem with preparing a speech as Bill and I have done
And the problem with preparing a speech, as Bill and I have done,
is that it is not dynamic.
is that it is not dynamic.
So we cannot respond to each other in real time.
And we cannot respond to each other in real time.
There are so many things that Bill brought up that I would love to respond to.
And there are so many things that Bill brought up that I would love to respond to.
Time is limited.
I'm so sorry I didn't catch that.
But time is limited.
But time is limited.
So I'll give this speech that maybe during this Q&A we can open up a dialogue.
And then I'll give my speech, and in the Q&A, we can open up a dialogue.
Here we go.
Here we go.
It will.
All right, thank you.
Good afternoon. Before I begin, I would like to thank the organizers of this event, and especially Kathy and Steve for inviting me to be on this panel. Thank you, Joshua and Nick, for setting up the technology for us this afternoon. And it's great to be up here with Bill and Andrew and hear their stories of how assistive technology impacts their lives. Going around to the vendors outside, I was reminded of the wide array of assistive technology that's out there today, and that the possibilities will only keep expanding as time goes on. 5 years from now, we will look back on this point in time and marvel at how far we have come. It's an exciting time for those of us who build and use assistive technology, and I'm excited for the future of this industry and the growing opportunities it is creating for those of us with disabilities. I'll speak briefly about my background and then go into how I use assistive technology. I'm currently the operations manager for Sierra Friends Center, an educational nonprofit and retreat center just outside Nevada City. I grew up on the East Coast and attended Howard College, where I majored in computer science, researching alternative forms of text input for people with physical disabilities. Like many of us, I'm a creative thinker and problem solver. Those of us who have been doing this for a while know that both of those qualities are invaluable to the work of developing adaptive solutions for people with disabilities. Customization is the name of the game. Whether we are setting up a custom set of commercially available products for an individual or writing code for an Arduino, we are tuning into the needs of whoever we are working with and trying to set them up with the most appropriate technology that will best meet their needs. In my case, I was the assistive technology consultant, but my client was someone I knew quite well myself. As a kid, I used the parentheromic liberator. I actually didn't use the liberator for much verbal communication, which I'll discuss later, but we connected the liberator to a computer and I was able to type. Gradually, the liberator gave way to a standard keyboard keycard. My first workstation was a Unix terminal. For the developers in the room, I have this memory of my father saying to me, "Carl, someday when you grow up, you will tell people that you started using the VI text editor when you were 7, and they will be impressed." He was right. Anyway, when I got my first joystick mouse, the old penny and gel joysticks that would break after 3 months of use, I switched to Macs. I've been using Apple computers ever since and really benefit from their comprehensive accessibility features. Also, I have used Don Johnston's co-writer for word prediction for over 10 years and continue to use it today. I used it to type out this speech this morning. So, I was at a backyard party one summer's night when I was 12, and a friend of mine and I started talking about text input. We noted that I actually have a fair amount of gross motor control, but struggled with the fine motor movements. Even with a keyboard keycard, typing was still a fine motor activity for me. So, we started to think about how to turn typing into a gross motor activity, something that I do well. Eventually, we developed Letterboard, which is what I am using right now. Actually, not right now because I am just sitting here and ready to computer speech, but you know what I mean. I have Letterboard mounted on my wheelchair, and together with my laptop and cell phone, I call it my mobile office. For people who can't see up front, Letterboard consists of 2 levers, which I move forward and backwards from a central neutral position. I type by moving the 2 levers, one in each of my hands, in different sequences. Each letter, number, modifier key, etc. is mapped to a unique sequence of letter movements. I'm not sharing my screen today because there's nothing to see. Letterboard runs off an Arduino Leonardo and appears to the computer as a standard USB keyboard, so I can navigate the computer like anyone else. I even have a mode to control the mouse. After the panel, I'm happy to demonstrate Letterboard to whomever wants to see it. For the engineers in the room, I have a quiz for you. Each lever can hit 2 switches, making 4 switches total. If all of my sequences were sequences of 3 switch presses, which not all of them are, but if all were sequences of 3, how many total possibilities do I have? Think about it. I got the first prototype of Letterboard working in 2007, and I have been refining it ever since. For the first number of years, I was using a whole separate computer to run it, but I got rid of that when I forwarded the software to the Arduino. This consolidation allowed me to streamline the hardware and enabled me to mount the system on my wheelchair, which I did during my senior year of college. Now, I call it my mobile office. As for many people with disabilities, I have struggled to use a cell phone. It's been so gratifying to watch the technology improve over the last several years. When I got my first smartphone, I got a Bluetooth device to control the phone with switches. The system would work for a few weeks, then break. It was so frustrating. Then I got my first touchscreen, and I discovered that I could control it with my nose. But again, because I don't have good fine motor skills, I couldn't control it well. Just in the past year, both Android and iOS have come out with switch control built into the operating system. Now, you can pair any Bluetooth switch to the device and control everything from dead switch or several switches. There is almost no documentation available on this that I can find, but it works well on both platforms. Again, any Bluetooth switch device and even any Bluetooth keyboard can work with Android and iOS switch control. It's really very cool. I want to briefly cover texting. I have used Google Voice for years. Google Voice lets you make and receive phone calls and send and receive text messages from your computer. It's really been the only way that I could text people for years because I can't type on my phone. Now, Apple has their texting synchronized between the phone and the computer, so that is another way to text from a Mac. I love getting around by public transportation. Before I had my computer mounted to my wheelchair, I couldn't do work while in transit. Then I could, but the problem was not having an internet connection. So I couldn't text, I couldn't send and receive email, I couldn't look up train and bus schedules. I remember having to load timetables on my computer before I would head out for the day and having to search for public Wi-Fi networks. I got really good at knowing where those networks were, but it was still really annoying. But now, and I bet most of you can see where I'm going here, I use my phone as a mobile Wi-Fi hotspot, so my computer is now connected to the internet whenever I have a data connection on my phone. It's really amazing. For example, today, I came down here by public bus from Grass Valley. I knew I could get here by bus, but I didn't have time to look up exactly how before I left home. No problem. In between writing the paragraphs of this speech, I used Google Maps to figure out how to get here. And to guide me here from the 48th Street Light Rail Station, I used iOS switch control to have the Google Maps app on my phone speak walking or rolling directions to me. Don't worry, I don't type and drive at the same time. I use two hands and lever work. I want to close by talking a bit about in-person face-to-face communication. I have long maintained that it is faster for me to use my own voice to communicate with others. Even communicating with people I don't know, I have felt that it was quicker in the long run to repeat myself until the person understood what I was saying, rather than typing it out on my computer or using a communication device. This feeling is slowly changing, however, but the technology has not quite gotten to where I want it to be for me to use augmentative communication in my everyday life when interacting with people I don't know. I have started to display pre-typed messages on my computer when I board a bus or train or roll up to a gate at the airport. This has been really helpful, and it feels good because I know that the person is understanding exactly what I had wanted them to understand. But using Leverboard, I type at 11.3 words per minute, so it is still unrealistic for me to carry an in-person conversation using Leverboard. I am currently applying for a disability advocacy job, so networking with people face-to-face would be an important part of my work. Part of me wishes that I could communicate with people more efficiently than I can just using my voice. That would, of course, dramatically change how I interact with people. I must say that I was a bit envious of Bill when I met him last week of how incredibly fast he can use his system. Nice work, but that just shows that every solution is unique to the user. My client had a unique set of needs, and I created a system that works for him and enables him to lead a meaningful life and be a productive member of society. As assistive technology consultants, it is our job to know what is out there and think creatively when working with each of our clients, assessing their needs on an individual basis. We also have to be able to put the pieces of the puzzle together that may not be obvious at first. This is what I have done and continue to do for my client, and he is here to show for it. Thank you.
Yes,
It's Carl. right?
Carl.
Okay. I'm from Grass Valley too, so that's a long way to come from on the bus. So congratulations. I'm not sure if I caught the name of I'm not sure if you live there or you work with Sierra Friends Society?
Sierra Friends Center.
Center, okay.
It used to be the woman pool.
It used to be a women's school.
The woman pool.
The wall.
WOOL.
Right, thank you.
Yeah.
And it's
Yes.
Okay.
But did you want to say where you're hoping to transition?
No.
No. I was smart enough not to flirt it. Thank you. Okay.
Are there, if you're using your hands to select words and letters, and are there other kinds of potential technologies that might work for you, like using your eyes somehow, or what else do you think about that could potentially help you in the future?
Well, I will give her lipstick plug for CTEC.
Well, I will give an unsolicited plug for CTEC. Jamie!
I am one of their clients right now.
I'm one of their clients right now.
They are incredible resources
They are an incredible resource
in this area.
in this area.
Like so far, I have not found anything that is as reliable.
But as of this time, I have not found anything that is as reliable
As my system.
as my system. So the question, just for the audience, is knowing what you know now, is there AT that you wish you had known when you first started employment? And actually, Bill, do you have anything that you might want to talk about? Andrew, do you have any thoughts about things that could help you in employment?
Yeah.
What?
Hey. My phone, say, my job, and why, Uber, and way home.
Go to get a meeting.
And
Ed. S.
That is in my work, I book bigger, and in my phone, is they, Bamum, and in the mail, do, but, God.
So using the phone with the app, using it for Uber, and using it for knowing to clean the bathroom, and what was the other one you said? And the mirrors.
Yeah.
So having all of the reminders on your phone has been key for you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Andrew.
As I said in my talk, technology keeps changing.
As I said in my talk, technology keeps changing.
So, I will maybe reframe it as what do I wish I had? What do I wish I would have had 5 years ago?
So I think I would reframe it from saying what I wish I had to what I wish I will have in 5 years from now.
No,
I'm sorry.
no.
Yeah.
did someone else get the okay. Reframing it to what I wish I had 5 years ago that may not have been available.
To what I wish I had 5 years ago that was not available?
Yeah. And like I said, being able to completely use my phone
And like I said, being able to completely use my phone
is incredible.
is incredible.
It was only a couple months ago that I actually used Google Maps.
It was only a couple of months ago. It was only a couple of months ago that I was able to use Google Maps
On my phone rather than on my computer via the hotspot.
on my phone rather than using it on your computer via hotspots.
And that was so liberating.
And that was so liberating. Bill, did you have anything that you wanted to share? No. Man, a few words.
JB. Not. Very. Going to. Good. Oft. At. Thinking. Apo. Answers. On. The. Fly. JB not very going too good oft at thinking Apo answers on the fly.
Actually, I differ with you on that, but maybe on this topic. Al?
Carl, as a computer scientist, do you see any potential for real-time conversational communication using assistive technology?
Great question.
A great question.
I do. And it has major psychological impacts as well.
It has major psychological impacts as well?
Yeah, because I'm not used to being able to go up to someone I don't know and strike up a conversation without any barrier.
Because I'm not used to being able to go up to someone I don't know and strike up a conversation.
Without any barrier.
Without any barriers.
I'm not used to that.
I'm not used to that.
That's not in my paradigm.
That's not in my paradigm.
And so, but I value my voice.
But I value my voice.
I do. I do.
I I'm sorry, I do value my voice. I thought I said that.
Yeah. In terms of it being technologically possible,
In terms of it being technologically possible,
yes, we're getting there.
yes, we're getting there. So one of the projects that I work on is the Northern California Business Advisory Council, and we have a couple of people here who are members of the BAC. We call it the BAC. And we've got Kathy Bryan from State Council, and I believe Sharon is still here, Sharon Krause from SETA. So let me kind of just lay out the structure of our Business Advisory Council. We do have some very key players. The first ones, of course, being our business leaders. And you notice I say business leaders as compared to employers. One of the things that businesses will tell you that they're not in the business of being employers. They're in business of creating products and providing services. They have employees because they need that. And so one of the mistakes that we oftentimes make is approaching businesses and saying, as an employer, and so that's one of the things that we've been working on. We also have worked with all of our supported employment agencies in the area. We've got Futures Explored, In Alliance, NorCal Services for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing, and Progressive Employment Concepts. We work with all of those service providers so that we can identify best practices and make sure that we're approaching businesses in a very business-oriented way as compared to making the mistake that a lot of our supported employment agencies can fall into, which is approaching them from a service model. And I'll give you kind of an example of that. A lot of people were talking about the clients that we have. Businesses are not interested in talking about clients. They're interested in meeting qualified applicants. They're interested in talking in the terms that businesses talk in, not the way that we talk within our service system. So we've really worked with our supported employment agencies to make sure that our supported employment agencies are, again, using best practices and are approaching businesses from a business perspective rather than a support agency perspective. We also have been working with our local workforce development agencies, including the Sacramento Employment Training Agency, which is one of they used to be called One Stops, now they're called the American Job Centers, which is a service that's available to anyone seeking employment. So we're working with them to make sure that when people with disabilities approach that generic service, that they're familiar with the abilities of people who have developmental disabilities, and that they are providing good services to people within that. The same thing with the Department of Rehabilitation. We have really, really created some excellent relationships in the time that we've been working together with the Department of Rehabilitation. So again, when people approach them who have developmental disabilities, which are significantly different than the traditional population of people with physical disabilities, that they know how to work with people and they can really support people in getting really good employment rather than being referred to programs that may not be meeting their needs. We also have, again, our department, the Center for Excellence in Developmental Disabilities, and the State Council on Developmental Disabilities are also partners. So with the partnership between the Business Advisory Council and local businesses, we really want to be a partner with solving their workforce needs, instead of trying to approach businesses, again, from hiring as a social justice issue, hiring people based on trying to approach them from a number of other ways, to really approach them to recognize that people with developmental disabilities have some unique talents and skills that can meet their needs. We work with to make sure that businesses have a nice handoff that they understand when they are looking for qualified employees, which agencies exist in town, and to actually develop hand-in-hand connections so that they can go directly to someone that they have gotten to know. And helping businesses to recognize that not only do we have qualified applicants, but we have done a lot of the work for people. We can bring people in who are pre-screened, and we can provide ongoing support for people who have excellent skills in terms of attention to detail, and particularly in the area of retention. And for large businesses, and I have this on another slide, one of the things that large businesses are focused on oftentimes is on the issue of diversity. And diversity, we're trying to make sure that all businesses understand that diversity should also include people who have developmental disabilities and disabilities in general, that diversity is not just simply an issue of ethnicity. So within our Business Advisory Council, we meet with businesses 3 to 4 times a year where we have major events. We come together, and one of the things we do is we focus on having a large business present their experience with hiring people with disabilities, and we also have a small business that do that. We have both of those because they come from very different, they have different needs and they have different expectations, and I'll give you kind of an example. Large businesses, diversity is one of the things that large businesses think about, as well as their unmet business workforce needs. With small businesses, diversity is not typically something that small businesses have a concern about. It's not something that's on their radar, and they can't afford to think that way. What they're thinking about is efficiency. Small businesses struggle to simply get by. So they're thinking about efficiency, and we can develop relationships where they understand that people with developmental disabilities can do complex work, very, very detail-oriented, and that people will, that part of the efficiency is the fact that retention is such a major bonus for people who have developmental disabilities. When we did a workshop for businesses a couple months back, we had our supported employment agencies bring in the retention rates, and many of the people who worked within a variety of jobs were working between 10, 15, and 20 years. 20 was not an uncommon number for people to work at the same company, which is something that's really astounding within a lot of our service agencies, or service businesses. These are some of the in-services that we do provide to the businesses. In addition to having them share back and forth amongst each other, we have done in-services regarding the retention data of our local supported employment agencies, not national data of the local agencies that they'd be working with. We've also, this next workshop that we're doing on May 24th, we are talking to businesses about the way that job development and job coaching works within when they do bring in someone who has support from one of our supported employment agencies. Most businesses don't realize that those services are provided for free, that they can continue on initially an hour per hour base while the person is learning the job, but then as the person learns the job, that job support may fade, but can always be brought back in when new tasks are identified and new things can be, new opportunities open up for the person who has a disability. We've also done an in-service on the issue of tax credits, which frankly is of all these other things, is, I think, the least important. When you talk to businesses, what they're really looking for is people who are committed, who are detail-oriented, and who stick around. So those are some of the in-services that we do. Another thing that we do is we spend time within each of our workshops with businesses, really offering them an opportunity to talk in a roundtable format. Part of that is simply to discuss amongst themselves and to inform us about specific business needs that are unmet. And that gives us an opportunity to think creatively with them about how someone with a developmental disability may be capable of doing a task that they never envisioned that someone who has a developmental disability could fulfill that role. So the Business Roundtable allows businesses to kind of share those needs. The other thing is that this opportunity for businesses to really just network with each other. We do not ever, I will slap any of our supported employment agencies around if I ever see them in a BAC meeting approaching and trying to job develop in that environment. That is not what we're there for. This is a pressure-free environment for businesses to share their needs without being worked on in that environment. One of the great examples of the importance of allowing businesses to talk with each other. SMUD has recently hired, I think, 4 people from one of our supported employment partners who are doing very, very complex tasks. And VSP, which is one of our major employers in our area, has been a regular, SMUD and VSP have both been regular partners with us in our Business Advisory Council. So VSP, as part of this roundtable, went over to a corner and started networking with SMUD about how are you doing this? What is working for you? And so they were sharing amongst each other the strategies that SMUD has found effective. That is so much more effective than me or any of our service providers trying to sell them an idea. This is a business has found it to be successful, and they are then sharing business to business the fact that this is working and how they've made it happen. So this is really a fantastic opportunity for businesses to have that relationship because they don't have it in most other places. So I've talked a lot about the BAC in general, and I'm going to try to tie it back now to how that works with why the BAC is an important aspect regarding the people who are here today talking about assistive technology. Businesses are interested in working with people who have disabilities. That is the absolute truth. They oftentimes have stumbling blocks to knowing how, when they have a need, is it something that one of our people can work on? Is it something that actually is doable? They also have a need to know if once they understand that would be a possibility, who do they contact? So this is a pathway. The Business Advisory Council is a pathway that opens up businesses to be able to really understand what are the abilities of people, and when I have a need, who do I contact to do that? It's also one of those ways when you think about how we typically get a job, it's through submitting a resume and doing an interview, which is frankly one of the worst ways to select qualified applicants. When you go through that process, you're picking people who are good writers and people who are good talkers. It does not mean they're good workers. And so this is an opportunity for business to really connect with people on a very different level to understand that ways that they can bring people in, oftentimes in paid internships and other opportunities, so that they can observe people and their actual skills within the work setting. The other thing is that by increasing the collaboration between our supported employment agencies, we're finding that they are being much more effective in not only working with the people that they serve, but working with each other to make sure that if they have an opportunity, if they have developed a work site that has a need, but they don't have a person who can meet that need, they can pass it on to another agency. And so by increasing the collaboration, we're seeing that our local supported employment agencies are being far more effective at increasing opportunities for employment within our community, not just within their agency. And that is an incredible need to recognize we don't need to just only think about the people we're serving, we need to think about people who are qualified within our community for opportunities that they've developed. The last thing is the collaboration that we've developed between our workforce development agencies, such as, again, Sacramento Employment Training and Department of Rehabilitation. Those agencies, again, they're typically not geared to working with people with developmental disabilities. That's not been their traditional focus. So by working with these agencies and developing a better understanding that people with developmental disabilities are far more capable and deserve far more opportunities than that they had traditionally been given, we are being able to use the resources that they have so that people are getting very different opportunities and very different outcomes. So we're seeing far more people going to those agencies and being actually placed in employment that is really at the level and within their gifts than we saw historically. So, and I believe, yes, that is the end. The end.
Hi there, I'm Jamie Crum, and this is Pippa Bellamy, and we work together at the Communication Technology Education Center. We wanted to put together a few slides and talk a little bit about some of the things that we found successful in supporting the clients that we have that come in for need for with their communication. I'm going to go through a few of the slides just to give us a little bit of context. Obviously, you got a chance to see some augmentative communication, but I wanted to just kind of go through here real quickly. You might have heard the term AAC, and that stands for Augmentative and Alternative Communication. And basically, that's any type of a technology that you would use to help augment someone's speech. And a lot of times, even if you have the most amazing technology, you might be wanting to still use your verbal speech as much as you can, as you saw today. And also, it could be a whole variety of items that help support people's ability to be understood. And there is a whole range. So how many of you guys have ever seen someone using sign language? Can you give me a thumbs up? Oh, you just did it. Great. Nice job modeling that for me. Thank you. And then also you might see communication boards, low-tech communication systems, and voice output devices. Or as someone that has a really high-tech system that could be customized or off the shelf to help to do just about any part of someone's body movement or gesture that they can use to a really sophisticated system. And it's important for us to consider that it's not a progression. You don't have to start with low tech and then show that you have the ability and the skills to move up to a mid-tech communication system, to a high-tech communication system. For a lot of reasons, we'll start with high-tech solutions when low-tech never worked. And a lot of times we'll find that being a successful way to approach intervention with people who need help with communication.
So we at CTEC believe in supporting all communicators, like Jamie's been saying. Everyone has something to contribute to the workplace. We all need help expressing ourselves. I'm from England, if you hadn't spotted. I need help translating fairly frequently. So we all need help expressing ourselves. That could be icons, pictures, text, voice output, and video. So we are going to demonstrate a bit of that today. Andrew has done an amazing job of already introducing the power of video for us. So
we stole some of our thunder too.
So we're going to try and show you what we've been doing with some of that.
Okay. So it's really important to just think about, you don't have to have all three of the people that we saw today showed some very high level abilities to navigate around a high-tech piece of equipment. That they were, all of them were, for whatever, going to different menus, opening the pages that they wanted to independently. You don't need to have that level of sophistication to start with an AAC system. So I just wanted to make sure that we just talk about that. Is when you think about the people who might need an augmentative communication system, don't put limits on someone that might give it a try. If they have a hard time being able to be understood, let's give them a try. There's lots of things we can do. But today we really want to talk about some of the fun things that we've seen with videos. And Pippa, you want to talk about this one?
Sorry. Sure. Okay. So videos obviously help someone tell their story. And that can be done by bringing a symbol to life. and attaching meaning to an icon. A lot of the icons that are used on communication boards, communication systems, they try very hard to represent the word that they're there for. However, sometimes it just doesn't cut it. And so almost most of the things that I really want to say, they're pretty abstract concepts that one picture is going to struggle to represent. So by adding video to something, it can really add meaning to that little picture. What we've also found is that for some of our clients, it can really increase their attention to their device. Those pictures can be attractive and appealing, but when I start seeing a video or hearing a video on my screen, I may engage more with that screen. It'll grab my attention, and we found that some of our clients really focus more on their device when we have videos behind those buttons. It's quite motivating. They'll even search out through a lot more pages to find those video buttons. Like I just said, so it improves accuracy and navigation. So we have found that some of our clients, they know where those video buttons are. They're more engaged by them. So they'll develop their navigation and their accuracy skills in order to go through and find those buttons. And it can allow the person to direct their care. This is a really powerful one. If I can use my device to tell you exactly how I like something done by having a video of it there ready to show you, that's such an empowering thing to be able to show someone who can then demonstrate something that might be a really complex task that would require a huge list of instructions, but actually if I can tell you or show you on my device, then I'm able to start taking some of that control and starting to be more independent in directing my own care. And I can train others by doing that. Again, that's a really empowering situation to be in.
So we were talking about, we wanted to talk a little bit about how we've been using videos, and some of those were on my own communication system. So if I wanted to use on my iPad or my speech generating device or something that uses communication, but also has the ability to play videos, that could help me in the middle of communicating, kind of turning into a dual purpose tool. And then also it helped me to share a more sophisticated or expand on a topic with you. So that's might be another example. Might be I have the ability to type and be really independent in my communication with my system, but on the back of my wheelchair there's something that needs to be plugged in, and I can't get back there to show you how to do that. I could play a video and you can see that, and we can share that experience. Oh, okay, that needs to be plugged in here in order to get your wheelchair, your tailgate party going. We'll get you, this is where the plug is, right? So those type of things, you can show that those are some nice applications to really communicate on the device. But the other is to use video in training another activity, including training how to use our communication system. And so what we want to do is we wanted to give you a quick idea of how you might use one of the common communication apps on an iPad to play a video, to put together something similar to what we saw earlier on your videos. We were going to use Go Talk Now. Okay, so this is I'm using an iPad Pro, and I'm using an app right here that's called Go Talk Now. And this is an app that you might use for putting a communication system together. For example, this one is maybe we're working on learning a new work task.
How to staple.
And I can use that for voice output, and this might have a lot of different things I might say. When's my break? I need a raise. You know, whatever you want to say at work on here. But you also can we want to show you how easy it is to put a video together. And in this scenario, if you guys can see that, how to staple, I've set up a kind of a task analysis that right now,
Step
1, and then I can have it speak the message of how to do that. And I even have a nice photo, which helps, but it's not as attractive as what we saw earlier. And then step 2, and then step 3 when you're finished.
Step 3.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is instead of just having it speak, we're going to add some video. So oops, I should do it this way. All right. So most of your tablets, your smartphones, all have your camera roll. I'm just going to open right up to the camera. We're going to do a quick video. Oops. Sorry. Camera. And so you want to have your videos ready to go first. Okay, here we go. So let's see. I'm going to need a volunteer from the audience. Can I get someone to come up really quickly? We need some extra hands here. Come on up, come on up. Anyone from over here? Run on up. I should have set this up earlier. Obviously, this was not planned. So this task that we have here is how to staple a piece of paper. This is my personal staple. It's an actual C-Tech paper. So what I'd like you to do is step one was to hold the paper, okay? So is there any special instructions about how you hold the paper that you want to share for our video when you staple documents?
I need to pick up the stapler,
Okay.
and then,
Oh, you're just holding the paper yet.
oh, okay,
You're just getting the paper ready.
okay.
All right, ready? And so you're gonna pick up the paper and hold
You
it a
want me
certain
to do
way?
the whole thing?
No, just one's the first step, just step
Oh,
one.
okay,
Here you go.
okay.
What do you do first? Holding the paper? Where are you going to put the staple?
Right there.
Okay, perfect. All right, now, step two. Here we go. Go ahead, you can talk through what you're doing.
Oh, okay. I'm going to pick up the stapler, and I'm going to put it onto the paper and press down,
Mhm.
and then remove the stapler.
All right, did that work for you?
Yes.
Okay, great. All right, and then the next stapler is just gonna, the next task is put the paper down on the table.
Okay.
Okay, ready?
And now I'm going to set the paper where it needs to be on the table.
There you go. Obviously, a very simple task. You can extend that to whatever task you're trying to learn, okay? So once you get the video on there, thank you very much.
You're
Give her a
welcome.
round of applause. All right. And so now, once we've got this, the pages on our Go Talk now, ready to go and receive our little videos, I'm just gonna jump into my page editor. Oh, by the way, we do free trainings at C-Tech on Go Talk Now app. The app is able to be downloaded for free if you have an iPad, and if you want to come to one of our sessions, we'd love to have you come and learn, so you don't have to worry about learning this all right now. Come on into C-Tech and we'll show you how to do it. Okay, step one, all I have to do is go in here and it's gonna look in my camera roll. I'm gonna choose through my camera roll, and does that look familiar? It's just like anytime you're trying to find pictures. I'm gonna try and find step one. I'm gonna go with that one probably, right? I'm thinking it's that one. All right. Use. All right. And then I'm gonna say done. I'm gonna jump down to step three. And then the action, I'm gonna tell it to play a video. Choose video on my camera roll. And that would be that one. And then we should be done. Done. And now I'm gonna just jump in the player. And then now I can hold in the paper. Where are you going to put the staple?
Right there.
Okay, perfect. To staple it, you have to give it a shake and hold it upside down. That was a little Julia Childs. I had that one ready for you in case the staple didn't work. I used my video there.
Now I'm going to set the paper where it needs to be on the
There you
table.
go. So it's just one of the things we really like about some of the apps. There's another app that's called Touch Chat. You'll see that in a couple of videos.
Okay, so we like to use video modeling, like Jamie was saying, in different types of ways. So we're not just talking about always doing a task analysis like that. We use it in different ways. So we have adult and peer modeling. So learning a skill by watching an actor perform the task or a peer, something like that. But also using point of view modeling. This is something that we've just started doing a little bit more of at C-Tech, and we're finding that it's really, really quite exciting. So we're taking a video of the desired behavior from the learner's perspective, and we'll show you one of these in a second. It's much easier to see than explain. But basically you get to practice what you will see, learning and basically when and how to do the job, when and how to say that. And self-modeling. So we do self-modeling by making a video of the person performing that task really well, and then take the video and add it to their device. We found that individuals do really well watching themselves, basically, that's a really good model, seeing yourself doing something really well. It's motivating and engaging, works well. Okay, so let's have a look at that point of view modeling, for example.
This is Catherine, one of our trainers.
Hey, I'm getting really hungry. What do you like to eat?
I like to eat cheeseburger and French fries. I like to eat cheeseburger and French fries.
Oh, that sounds really good. I like cheeseburgers too. What do you like to drink with that?
I like to drink Coke. I like to drink Coke.
Well, that sounds good. I'll see you later.
Goodbye. See you later.
Those are a really nice way you could think about any conversation that might come up in the workplace. There's an issue that's come up, and it's really about learning to expand what you want to say, learning to take turns in a conversation, asking a question, where am I going to go? And I can watch that model, and we find a lot of people just really will watch those over and over and over, and they'll learn those sequences. It's like a self-learning. That being possibly on another device. I might watch it on my iPhone or another tablet, and then watch that and then practice it on my own device. Okay, so just some different things that would work well and as ideas for you. Is my job completed? Remembering to, before I end a task, is there anything else you need me to do? That type of a thing. Requesting a break, asking for help, giving information or asking questions, or teaching someone else your job. So if you can use point of view to walk through those steps, and how are you going to train someone else to learn your job? And maybe greeting customers and asking for more supplies. Okay, oh, now one other point. And also you're wanting to always model just a little bit more than their current output level. You don't want to model a 7-point sentence if they're just learning the first step, 1 or 2 buttons. You kind of look at where they are, and then you make a model on the video that's just a little bit, 1 or 2 outputs, button presses or utterances past what they're currently doing, where they're learning.
Okay, so this is one of our clients, Dustin, and we've been working a lot with him at his workplaces. And we found for Dustin that using video for him was really engaging, but also he was able to use it in lots of different ways. So not only to teach himself, to show himself what tasks he has to complete, also to instruct others, which is something that he really enjoyed, telling other people which jobs they were going to be doing, also as a reminder, and then also to tell his mom what he's been doing at work during the day. It's that first conversation when most people walk through the door. How was your day? What did you do? That sort of thing. So being able to share those videos has been a really nice thing for him to do with mom. And
before we went to videos, he was not really paying attention to any symbols. He wasn't reaching out and doing much of any exchanging of communication on any type of a system. But when he saw those videos, then he would start paying attention. And it started by saying he loved watching a video of his dog. And so he would open a page and find his dog. And then he wanted to find the video of his mom saying, "Hi, how's it going?" And so we really saw that engagement. And then we said, okay, how do we turn this into something that's going to help him be successful in his work life? So basically he opens up his job page, and each time he hits one, it gives a really simple point of view, like what I'm supposed to be doing, attaching what mopness is, what trash outness is. He's really assigning the picture to the activity. And then it might be him, an instruction on how to do it, but it might be more to make sure that I really want that one. I'm not just pushing the buttons. I'm really looking, oh yeah, that's the one I want. I want mopping, and trying to pull those together. So that was something that's one way we found a real success with him, and we've seen that with quite a few other clients. Okay, and so that's pretty much the end. I just want to do a little plug for CTech. We're working on a video project called STAR, which stands for Supportive Training with Active Respect. And it's a series of videos that we're going to have to help people become certified in working with people with communication needs and communication systems. And we should have that, our first video should be out in the next, I'm not supposed to say a number. Tomorrow? No, probably within the next 30 to 60 days, we're going to have our first launch of a video. That'll be on our website and a web refresh. So thank you very much for staying late, and if you have any questions, we'll be happy to answer them off to the side. Thank you.